Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah and this is my granny era. Today I am doing the reluctant TBR tag. I was tagged by Anne from In Search of Wonder like months ago, a really long time ago. But I lost all of my tags. They just disappeared for a while. And so I hadn't written this one down. And then one day they just popped back up again and I was able to write everything down. So I don't know what was up with that, but I actually heard from one other guy that he had lost all of his mentions as well. And so, yeah, I had all kinds of tags on there that I hadn't done yet. So now I'm doing it finally. So this one has 15 questions and then a tag people. This one was created by Chloe Frizzle. And it's basically, the question is, what is a book you want to read, but? So why am I reluctant to read these different books? So the first one is, what is a book you want to read, but it was a soft DNF? So basically, I was unable to finish it the first time, but I did want to read it again, so I didn't just chuck it. That would be, well, there's a couple, but I'm thinking of Les Miserables. So that book, I started on audiobook a while back, and I was getting into it, but I think I just, like, life got crazy, and it became really chaotic for me to try to listen to it while I was reading something else. And so I think it was kind of like my first foray into audiobook land. And I think it's going to be better now. I think it'll be okay now. But then I'm wondering if I should read it, you know, like a paper version, or what do you guys think? Like, what have you done? Is it better to read an audiobook, paper? Do you care? Do you know? Let me know. Number 2, what is a book you want to read, but you've read another book by that author and didn't enjoy it? Okay, so that would basically be everything by Alexander Dumas. So I want to read like The Count of Monte Cristo and The Three Musketeers. I've heard people talking about those books and how good they are. And I know there's other stuff too, but I read his version of The Nutcracker in December and I despised it. The beginning of it was right, but then it just went all wonky weird. And the ending of it was sort of right, but even kind of weird too. And it just wasn't what the Nutcracker is supposed to be. I wanted the ballet, which I know is kind of based on his, but anyway, I did not enjoy his telling of the Nutcracker at all. And so now I'm kind of nervous about jumping into his books because they're huge. And what if I get into it enough to keep reading, but it's also horrible? So yeah, I'm probably overthinking it, but he's the one. All right, number 3, what is a book you want to read, but it's brand new and you don't know when you'll get around to it? Okay, so there is this book. I've got a pile here. I'm going to make such a mess today. Oh my goodness. Don't look at those. Okay, this is called Small Favors by Erin Craig. Now, I heard about this on, I can't remember. For one thing, it's totally outside of my normal genre. It's like a fantasy, etc. I don't know. It's outside my genre. But the reason why I picked it up is because when the girl was describing it, it sounded a lot like Frank Peretti's book, The Oath. And it's basically like there's something outside the town and the people are doing something to appease whatever that thing is outside the town so that whatever that thing is doesn't come in and destroy the town. Like, it sounds very much like that same storyline of The Oath. And so that, it sounded interesting to me and I wanted to read outside my genre, and the cover of it was really pretty. But the problem is because it is outside my genre and I got it from a section of the bookstore that I never shop in, surrounded by books that I would never pick up. And now I'm kind of freaking out that I'm not going to like it. So help me out. Have any of you guys read this? And if so, what'd you think? And will I like it? All right, number 4 is, what is a book you want to read, but the cover is painfully ugly? Now, that's just mean. I can't even think of a cover that is painfully ugly, but there's plenty of unattractive books out there. The problem is I pick books based on their covers so often that most of the books on my shelf are versions of those books that I love. But I will say, when I was thinking about it, this book, The Doomsday Book by Connie Willis, this is a book that I actually unhauled because the cover just did not appeal to me. And I figured if they were not going to take the time to make a more appealing cover, then it probably wasn't a really great book. But then I heard about this from a couple of other readers, and I realized that actually there's a reason why I had ordered it the first time around, because it actually sounds like a really great book. So yeah, it just doesn't appeal to me. And even though I'm an American, red, white, and blue just doesn't appeal to me in any shape or form. I gotta move on. Okay. Number 5. What is a book you want to read, but it's a classic book that might be good for you, but you're not that interested? Okay. It's anything Russian. And I don't know why that is. Like, I know nothing about Russia. It's not like political or anything like that. It's just that I feel like it's going to be I just feel so intimidated. I feel intimidated by words and names. And I feel like it's going to be so wordy and so much background. Like, I need to read, like, do they make Russian middle grades? I need to read something that's just kind of gonna usher me, just kind of like gently coax me in, right? Do you guys have any suggestions? Just Russian literature really intimidates me. And, the fact that I don't know anything about Russia or the culture is a good reason to read more Russian literature or Russian literature at all. Like, I really don't think I've read anything except for maybe biographical stuff on the Romanovs or something. Okay, number 6 says, what is the book you want to read, but it's humongous and intimidating? There are quite a few that I have on my shelves, like Wives and Daughters and Middlemarch and Nicholas Nickleby and that kind of stuff. They're really big. I wouldn't say that Charles Dickens is intimidating, but the others, maybe. But I will tell you, for now, it is Cecilia by Fanny Burney, because this book is kind of sort of calling to me right now, because it is a mammoth, so it works for March of the Mammoths. It is the read-along for the Jane Austen birthday celebration that Anne is doing at In Search of Wonder. There is technically like 30 hours left of Feb Regency right now as I film this, so I could start it for Feb Regency. But there's a lot of good reasons for me to read this book, but it's huge. And I just don't know. I don't want to get into it, and then I'm so into it that I don't want to quit it, but it's taking me so long that it eats up my March. Does that make sense? That's why I'm struggling with poor Cecilia right now. Okay, number 7. What is a book you want to read, but you feel like you need to read it because it's hyped, but you're not that excited? Okay, that would be anything by Elizabeth Gaskell. I don't know. I tried Mary Barton. I tried Cranford. And both, I just couldn't, but I'll be honest with you, it was like 20 years ago. So yeah, I probably just had no clue what I was reading. But whenever I think about reading her, I'm just not that excited about it. The synopses that I read just don't sound interesting to me. I read her biography of Charlotte Bronte like years ago, but that's the only thing I've read by her, I think. And I don't know, I'm just not excited, but everybody says how wonderful she is, so I don't know. All right, number 8. What is a book you want to read, but you need to be in a specific mood to enjoy it? I would say that is probably I Capture the Castle by Dodie Smith, because I have tried to read this like 4 times and I can't get into it. And I think it's going to be good. And so many people say it's going to be good. For one thing, the cover of this book is another one of those that just bugs me. Like, I love the background. If you can kind of tell, it's a little girl. I think she has she has an umbrella and then there's flowers. The back of it's cute. But then this big old quote from, endorsement from J.K. Rowling right across the front is annoying. It just doesn't appeal to me. That's just one that I feel like I need to be in a certain mood, but I don't know what the mood is. Because I don't know, what the book's about. Like, am I supposed to be in a contemplative mood, a gloomy mood? Am I supposed to be in a happy, cheery mood and hopeful? I just don't know how to feel. All right, number 9 says, what is a book you want to read, but you're on the fence about continuing the series? I only have one book that I can even think of that is part of a series where everything is released, right? And I just haven't read it yet. And that one I'm going to finish for middle grade March. It's a children's series. But everything else, I only am actually in the middle of one series right now, and the next book doesn't come out until June. So I don't really have a good answer for that one. Number 10 says, what is a book that you want to read, but it's been on your TBR for a very long time? That would be Nicholas Nickleby. It is intimidating to me because it's huge, but it has been on my TBR since I first started keeping track, and that was in 2008. It's probably been on my TBR longer than that, but I haven't kept track before 2008, right? So that's like 17 years. I mean, that's like the whole life of half of my children. Number 11 is, what is a book you want to read, but it is in a genre outside your comfort zone? That would be this one that I featured in a couple of videos lately because it's a book that my mom recommended to me, The Great Alone by Janet Dailey. She loved this book. It's a kind of a saga about the settling of Alaska. And I want to read it because my mom said it's great, but I'm afraid it's really romancy, and I just don't like romances. I don't. So I guess that one would be my pick for that. But I'm going to read it because I did ask her for a recommendation, and that's what she gave. So, but speaking of mom, the next one has to do with her as well. So what is a book that you want to read, except, despite owning it, you'll likely never read it? That would be Forever Amber by Kathleen Winsor. So my whole life growing up, my mom talked about how this was her favorite book. When I was an adult, I bought her a DVD. She watched the DVD and said, I didn't remember any of that. And then since then, I've heard a couple of different people be like, ooh, Forever Amber, that's pretty raunchy. I have it on my shelf because, for one thing, it matches my copy of Gone with the Wind. And it also was my mother's, and she gave it to me. She wrote a little note out to me when I was in high school. Oh, February 15th, 1996. And now we're at February 27th. That's pretty close. Was that 30 years? Wow. Okay. Anyway, I guess I was a junior in high school when she gave me this. But I just don't know. Everybody's talking about what a horrible character poor Amber is. I'm not sure. I don't know if I'll ever read it. All right, number 13. Speaking of, what is a book that you want to read, but it's only out of obligation to someone, a book club, a friend, whatever? That would be Gone with the Wind. I'm sorry. Okay, so again, growing up, this was like the family favorite. Everybody knew that my grandma loved this book. So therefore everybody else loved the book because we all love grandma, right? So it reminds me of my grandma. It reminds me of my mom. The movie I have watched several times with my mom growing up, and I have happy memories of that, but I can't stand Scarlett O'Hara. I just cannot stand her. And also it's a romance, right? Can I really do that many pages of romance? I don't know. It looks like I spelled hot chocolate on it though. Sorry about that. But again, my mom wrote this one out to me too. I will keep it for my whole life, and one of these days I will write it out to one of my kids. And I probably will read Gone with the Wind, but I do feel obligated. I don't feel like, oh, I can't wait to read that. I feel like I'm a black sheep of my family until I read it. All right, number 14. What is a book that you want to read except for negative reviews have made you less excited? All right, so I never ever read reviews before I've read the book. Like, I will read synopsis, if I'm going to order it or whatever, but I don't read any Goodreads reviews or anything like that before I read a book because a lot of times the book is spoiled. So, I can't really pick a book for that, but I do get less excited reading books when I have found out stuff about the author that I don't like, right? So it makes me be like, I don't know if I even want to pick up their books because they were such a sleazy person or whatever. And I'm kind of feeling that way. Like, I'm trying not to feel that way, but I just finished the biography of Arthur Conan Doyle just like yesterday, the day before. And I was so relieved to be done with that book because I just don't like him. He is just not a pleasant person. And the way he treated his family, and just the selfish, just self-centered. He wrecked his whole career and his whole just reputation and everything just by being such a flippin' weirdo. And so, like, but I have read 2 Sherlock Holmes books, and I did enjoy them both. And so I feel like, you know, although not a lot of people in his day wanted to separate him from the character that he created of Holmes, I feel like I definitely can do that, because I like Sherlock Holmes, but I do not like Conan Doyle. All right, and then number 15, what is a book you want to read but it hasn't come out yet? So that would be the 4th book in the Mr. Darcy and Miss Tilney series by Claudia Gray. It is called The Rushworth Family Plot. It comes out in June. So Claudia Gray, who is mostly known for being a children's author of like a lot of Star Wars novels, really, but you know, other stuff. She wrote this series with characters from the Jane Austen novels, and then 2 characters that she created that are the main characters. Jonathan Darcy is the son of Lizzie and, you know, Darcy Fitzwilliam. And then there is Miss Tilney, who is the son of Kathryn and Mr. Tilney. But I can't remember what her first name is. Juliet, maybe. Anyway, they meet at a get together, and they're young, you know, they're like young people. They're like old enough to get married, but young enough to not be part of the, you know, adulty group. Anyway, they meet and they start solving mysteries together. And so this will be book 4. They are really good reads. Like, I really enjoy them. So I am looking forward to that. But it doesn't come out until June, so I gotta wait a little while longer. All right, the last prompt is to tag 5 people. I'm going to tag Debs, I'm going to tag Pat, and then I'm going to tag 3 new people that I just kind of went searching for the BookTube newbie tag and found a few people more to tag. So if you guys want to do this tag, do it. Make sure and tag me in it so I can come and watch your video. Otherwise, I hope that you're having a great day. I will see you soon. Bye.